Welcome back to another episode of Soul Driven with Steph. I am thrilled about our wonderful guest joining us today. She is the creator of Small Town Beauty by Asia, which I just put on my favorite number 23 lip gloss. I always wear this before every podcast episode. So I'm really excited to have you here today to tell us more about your story and your journey. Welcome, Asia.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So tell us from the beginning where your origin in entrepreneurship began, because it was before your current company. So take us through just your journey into entrepreneurship and how it led you to where you are now.
Yeah, so it actually started when I was a kid. So I'm one of those weird kids that was like, yeah, I want to own my own business one day. And, I remember selling duct tape wallets at my parents' garage sale. And, nobody bought them, but that was a good lesson. And like, hey, keep trying, sometimes you're going to fail. And my parents had always kind of dabbled in business, things of that nature. So for me, it was kind of always like instilled that, you know, if you have a hobby, you're creative and somehow like how can you, turn that into a business or make it your lifestyle. And so fast forward to college. I'm at Viterbo University. Okay. So, fast forward, I'm 19 years old and I start teaching dance at a studio in Holman. This teaching job gave me the opportunity or presented me with an opportunity to co own a dance studio. And, with college and all those things, it was like a different time for me. And my parents were very supportive because they had always wanted to own their own business and they really encouraged me to do that. And so I went into that. I was teaching there at 19. By the time I turned 20, I had co-signed on the business. And so I was doing a double major with criminal justice and psychology and also co-owning a dance studio. At the time I was like, why do I need this education? I already have like this dance studio now. Let's do that. Very thankful now that I finished out my education. My parents were like, no, you're not paying for it. You can sit your butt in a seat and get your degree. So that happened. I got my full-time job at Daryl Power. So I graduated college in 2022. I'm been co-owning a dance studio for about 2 years now. And it's just it's a different time in life for me. When you're in college, you kind of think like it's all about you and your world. And then you get your full-time job, you start thinking, what's my life going to look like? I want to get married, maybe have kids. And so around this time too, I just felt like I was growing out of what I had built at the studio because my life was changing. And my business partner and I weren't really seeing eye to eye anymore on things and our vision for the studio. And I was thinking, what are my future ambitions and is this where I see myself? And the studio was my life revolved around it. It was my child. And so I started thinking, I want to have a family. I don't want to have to feel like I have to cover shifts or drop everything when my co-partner wants me to because I want to prioritize other things in life. So feeling like, I didn't really have a voice in that aspect of the studio anymore. I just felt like this divine intervention of it's time to move on. But it was really hard because I was convinced that you were going to rip that studio from my cold, dead hands. um, so I ended up signing over my half of the studio back to my partner in September of 22, and then finished teaching there in February of 2023. And that's kind of where the whole Small Town Beauty by Asia started. Um, just really out of this like heartbreak of I have all this knowledge. I could run a studio or I could run a business if I really wanted to. And I felt like I was wasting that knowledge because I learned so much from it. And you know,
Mhm.
when you fail, quote unquote, as I felt like I did, I didn't want it to be a failure. I wanted it to be something that I could grow from and learn from. And so I was just really struggling with where do I put that energy and put that knowledge now that I have it and now that I tasted it, right? You know, like I got the entrepreneurial
Mhm.
experience. I got to be an owner. I got to be my own boss and like now I wanted to continue to do that again. So that's switching from dance being my whole life and my identity to envisioning what did I want for my life now and how could I incorporate that entrepreneurial aspect into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us where the inspiration for starting your own lip gloss line came from. I
Yeah.
feel like that's something that, you have to learn before you even launch it. So take us through that.
Yes, that is the fun part. My favorite question. What is the inspiration? So, this period of time between signing over my studio and figuring out, what did I want to do was really a time of self discovery for me. And I started setting a lot of personal boundaries in my life from that. And it was at a time where I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I didn't know where to go. And I, one day, that's how I always say it. I stumbled down this fascinating rabbit hole on TikTok about making your own cosmetics. And I remember in that moment, I was like, I went out with my friends that night actually, and I was like, I think I'm gonna do this. I think this is where I want to go. And I had such like a peace about it between everything from, you know, losing my studio or, signing it over, being in this place of like feeling lost. Through it all, I had this heartbreak, but I still had this like peace around everything, which made me feel like I was on the right path. And so in this
Mhm.
waiting season, it was it was really crucial for me to just figure out like what did I want to do with all this. And I remember my friends are like, yeah, you went from, I think I'm gonna order some stuff on Amazon to like, hey, what do you think of this proof for this business and lip gloss and these boxes? And before I knew it, I was distributing samples out and getting recommendations from people and, just really finding a formula that I liked. And so, really, the inspiration behind Small Town Beauty came from, what do I want out of my life? Not what my business partner wants, not what my, friends want. What do I want out of life? And from this like little broken heart of Asia, the young entrepreneur, really just emerged this cosmetics line that I could pour my heart into.
Yeah, I love it. And tell us kind of the inspiration behind the name as well.
Yeah. So that's a funny story too. Actually, I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-through and it was when Chick-fil-A just opened in Alaska. And so the line was long and I'm like, I want to do this. I want to think of a name. And like a name's a big deal because I didn't want like 6 months down the road to be like, I hate this name. Why did I pick that? So I
Mhm.
wasn't in a rush to find a name, but I was just kind of like brainstorming things. And so as I would think of things, I would put them down in my phone and write them down. And I'm like, well, I really want this to be a community where people feel a sense of belonging. It's not just about a lip gloss. You buy a quality product, but you also feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. And I'm in the Chick-fil-A drive-through and I'm just like, oh, I wonder if I could do something with small town or this or that. And um it just kind of like came to my head and I was like, oh, small town beauty. And I was like, Small Town Beauty by Asia. And I remember calling my husband, which was not my husband at the time, but my fiance. And I was like, "I found my name." And he's like, "Cool, babe. Love that for you." And I'm like, "No, like, you don't understand. Like, I just found the name of my business." Um,
I
I've
love it.
yeah, and I've loved it ever since. It really just represents, this whether you're from a small town, a big city, I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, so I didn't come from a small town such as Trempealeau or Galesville. And whether you're in the big city or a small town, I really just want my brand to radiate that sense of belonging that you feel in a small town, just like that tight knit community.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love just the meaning behind it. And I think when I met you, you were just in the early phases of launching everything. So in the past year or so that I've known you, it's just been so cool to see your evolution and all your ideas and just excitement behind it. So tell us, how did you actually learn then to formulate your own products? And how do you create all the different like custom colors, scents? I mean, you do tons of custom collaborations with other businesses so that they have their own unique Small Town Beauty by Asia product to sell. Like, what is your creative process? I'm always curious about this.
Yes. So my creative process isn't as fun as maybe some people's. It's really just for me, I'm always looking at staying humble and being persistent. So I always try to remind myself, you don't know everything. You don't know till you try it. And I remember when I was first starting, like experimenting on lip glosses, I was doing extensive research with, Dr. Google at night, looking at like information on various oils, butters, understanding, how do they benefit? What can I use? What are other people using? What are big brands using? And obviously, like, you can't replicate lab created cosmetics because I'm not a lab, I'm not a chemist. I wish I was a chemist. It would be a lot easier to make these formulations. But just really researching that and knowing that I wanted to put something out there that I was going to love and going to use every day myself. And so I remember, looking at, okay, could I use shea butter, mango butter? There's so many butters out there. I can't even believe how many butters there are out there. But then I'd be at my kitchen table, crafting tester after tester and really just like pouring my heart into the process and the determination to really create something that, I not only love but can call my own and share that with the world is how I push through. But back to the question on formulation, besides like all the research, all the testing, I really I just I try to brainstorm like what would I want? And I've been learning as I go. So as people do custom orders or are looking for specific colors, then I kind of figure out, what is the market looking for. So like when I released my first two products, I had a lip gloss that it was a sheer red, but in the packaging it looked very bright red. And it really like turned people away from it because I think they were assuming it was going to be like a lipstick pigmented and they didn't want that color. So I just really I take feedback, I do research, and my creative process is really, keep showing up until you got something you want. Keep being persistent, and eventually you'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
that's not
Did you
too
have
big,
to make a
but
lot? Well, it's like trial and error, I'm sure. So, did you have to do a lot of kind of beta testing of samples before you even launched your first few products?
yes, yep, 100%. So I was handing out testers to literally anyone that would take one. And I was doing different formulations depending on, do I add this much castor oil or do I take that out? And my one of my very good best friends, who I trust her opinion very much because she's going to tell me her thoughts and feedback. And you're one of those friends where they just want you to succeed, so they're going to be honest with you. And I gave some testers to her and her little sister. And I love telling the story because her little sister is a lip gloss connoisseur, got 20 in her purse kind of girly. And so I knew that if I had her approval, we'd be rocking and rolling. And I got a Snapchat from her one day, and it was a bunch of videos. And I was like, oh no, here comes the feedback. And she's like, she goes, I don't give out compliments often, but this is one of the best lip glosses I've ever tried. And I was like, I knew at that point, I was like, yep, she's ready for market. Let's launch this.
Yes, I love it. Which one was that? I'm just curious.
It was Benny Boy, the red one that I
Benny
ended up
Boy. Okay.
launching. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great story. I love it. Well, my niece, Margaret, is a huge fan. She
Yes.
loads up on lip gloss every day. It's all over her face, and she can't get enough. So you have a wide age group of audience. I love it.
I love
So
it.
you are celebrating 1 year for Small Town Beauty by Asia this month of May. Tell us your biggest wins and what you've learned over the past year.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to when I started this, met I met you, Steph, before I had launched it. And looking back on this year, my greatest accomplishment undoubtedly is joining Sister Circle. The connections that I've created, the expertise that people have shared with me just on like the business aspect of things, the amount of mistakes that I have avoided because of people's advice on how to do things, a better way. I, I ran a business without Sister Circle, and I've run a business with Sister Circle, and one is thriving and one closed. So I'll let you decide
Mm.
which one had Sister
Well,
Circle involved.
oh, well, I can't take any credit for that other than, divine timing, meeting someone at the right time, and it just the community is truly phenomenal. I mean, I just create the container for it, and hopefully your vibe attracts your tribe type of thing, where
Yeah.
people are drawn to it who are also collaboration over competition minded and just want to give and help and lift each other up. And I still remember, I think it was the first meeting that you came to, where I remember saying, like, you need to talk to Sarah from Makeup by Sarah Koblitz about wholesale, because I knew that wholesale was going to become this like huge avenue for you. And would you say that's true in the last year, like wholesaling with different places and the collaborations? I mean, I
One
see new ones every week, I feel like.
Yes, 100%. I remember that conversation because I was like, "What is wholesale?" I've never done that before. I don't
Yes.
even
Yeah,
I
I remember that was what you said. And we're like, oh, let us tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's so amazing. Yeah, and so community collaboration and being a connector is a huge part of who you are. So tell us just what you love about, I mean, you kind of mentioned it already, but just being in community and surrounded by so many other powerful female small business owners. What are some of the things that you've learned or gained from them?
Yeah, so obviously wholesale was a huge thing, for me to learn and really branch out into another area of business owning that I had no idea about, but I had so many people that I could ask questions to during that time and really figuring that out. And it makes me wonder how long it would have taken me to figure that out if I hadn't joined Sister Circle and had all these business women business owners in my life that were like rooting for me and being like, "Hey, you need to do this or you should do that or have you thought of this?" And I I love the collaboration aspect because, even if two people are doing the same thing, their brand is different, their personalities are different. Something that Sister Circle has really taught me is that people are buying from you. So, what are
Mhm.
you putting out into the world besides your product? And I love that because even through Sister Circle, I've met Brenda, who owns your cosmetics. And I've even been talking about doing like a collab with her. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, and I don't want to speak for her, but when like I joined Sister Circle, she kind of joined around the same time. And I was like, you need to start promoting this more, that you own your own line. And um, I think that really helped both of us, start promoting
Mhm.
ourselves more. So,
Yeah, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, all of the people you've collaborated with. I mean, so many of them are within our Sister Circle community. So
oh,
that's just been really fun to see. I'm
yeah.
curious, what has been your biggest challenge as a young female entrepreneur that you've either been struggling with now or have already overcome?
Yeah. So, the biggest challenge I have is not allowing my ego to let me miss out on opportunities. So we all have that little voice in our head that says, oh, who are you? What are you doing? You have like that imposter syndrome. And I feel this right now to my core because I've been dealing with this a lot. And I was actually listening to a podcast and she said on there, she's like, gosh, I can't remember the podcast now. I wish I did. But she had said, are you going to let your ego hold you back from opportunities? Like, you need to decide, are you going to protect your ego because your ego's there to hold you back so that you don't fail? Or are you going to get past that so you're not sacrificing opportunities for yourself? And that really has been my biggest challenge because I want everything to be perfect. I've talked to a few of my friends that have been uh, thinking about starting businesses as well. And the biggest thing I tell them is you just need to do it. You need to start because you're never going to learn and it's never going to be 100% perfect. But until you launch that, you're never going to know and you're never going to be able to learn. And that's really hard to let go of, especially us perfectionist
Mhm.
people that, you know, so it's a balance between you. If you have a quality product, as you go you'll learn, and you can't let your ego hold you back because you're going to miss out on opportunities, and that's okay if you want to choose to protect your ego over new opportunities, like that's our choice. But for me, I don't want imposter syndrome. I want to emerge from that and be a leader, or not a leader. Well, a leader, yes, but a learner. Maybe I don't know everything. That's okay. Who can I learn from, and how can I grow from this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think imposter syndrome is really just doing new things that we've never done before and feeling that fear around it. I was just talking to another sister circle member the other day about how, I really feel like so many of us are in this season of surrender. Like, this is our surrender season to so much, maybe uncertainty, fear, like things outside of our control, and just like controlling our own mindset, because I
Mhm.
think we typically know that when we feel that uncomfortableness, it means we're we're on a path of growth, and
Yep.
that's scary, and it's putting ourselves out there in new ways and possibly failing, and all of those scary things. But on the other side of that are the opportunities that we really want. um, the feelings that we were after, the person that we want to become, the growth in, our business per se, all of those things are on the other side of that. So really
Yep.
being able to just like surrender and push
Mhm.
through, and continue to like step into what we're called to do, which I feel those fears after even 10 plus years of running a business. Like, when you take a risk or you want to go to that next level, your little voice, your ego starts to pop up and question you, and you start to compare yourself to other people around you, and it's just always a test of, what do you really want, like you
Yep.
said.
Yeah. 100%. I loved calling it ego because then you can put that in a box and be like, all right, put that somewhere else.
Yes, yes. So what is your biggest joy in your business, in your life currently?
Oh my gosh. I could talk about this for hours, but I will try to sum it up. I just find a lot of purpose and meaning in my business right now. It just brings me a lot of joy as I am coming up on this 1 year of small town beauty. I just recognize I have a larger vision and that I'm creating a community. I'm really building these relationships with people. And I just, my business just brings me absolutely so much joy to just, it is my outlet, but that is because I have a full time job, you know? So my
Mhm.
small business is my outlet to enjoy, be creative, really take my mind off like day to day tasks and realities and just sit in something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love that. And it should bring you joy, whether you're doing it full time or not. There are plenty of other activities that we can spend our time on that bring us joy. So if our business is not, then we have to figure out a way around that. So I'm glad to hear that is still filling up your cup. And I'm
Mhm.
curious, now you can share as much information as you want because I know you have a very big and exciting launch coming up. Maybe you give us a little teaser for that, but what is next on your life list and or business list of things?
So I'm currently working on expanding my product line. I had been sensing for a while that my business is ready for that growth and that my customers are really eager to see something fresh. And that latest venture includes it's been kind of on the down low, so this is the first time I'm officially going to talk about it, but really developing a new cream blush formula. I I love cream blush, so I think it's like a good place to start for me, but I've Wowza, is that like a whole nother ballpark from lip gloss and
Yeah.
all those things. So that that is I'm hoping to launch that July 1st. We will see what happens. I'm putting the goal out there so that I don't procrastinate, but I'm also going to be lenient on that goal just to know um that I'm not going to put something out there if I don't absolutely love it or think that other people are going to love it. So that's the newest product that I've been working on. But I also started doing these collabs. So one of them, I'm still in the early stages on. So I'm gonna keep that one a little under wraps until it's released because I really want to hype up the marketing for that. But the one that I'll be dropping in June is with my sister in law, Kaylee. So she is actually having a vow renewal later in June. And I had come to her with this idea about, would you be interested in having like custom makeup for your wedding? And we could do a collab box. You can pick them, name them, pick colors, shades, scents. What are your thoughts on this? And um, I'd say we started that in January. And then we did like our photo shoot, how to get the products ready, all those things to get it ready to drop in June. And I'm really excited for that because I'm dabbling in a new highlighter that is in her box. And while it's not handmade by me, it is hand selected by us, shade wise, formulations picked by us. So really looking to gauge, do I have a customer base that is interested in that? And, you know, maybe I start doing more of these like limited edition boxes. So the possibilities are endless, but um, so on top of that,
Yeah. That
No, sorry, go ahead.
That is super exciting. And yeah, I can't wait to see it. I've been loving the marketing for it with all the lavender, and I think it's perfect for spring and summer. If you're interested in knowing more about that, I will be sharing more info on my Instagram as well. So we have some fun kind of affiliate marketing happening there, which I'm looking forward to sharing more with this audience. So when this podcast is airing, it is about to drop. So
Yes.
that's very exciting. So tell us, my favorite question is, what are you most proud of about yourself?
Yes. So when I was thinking about this question, I really it's hard to like be like, what am I proud about myself? It's always easy to like find, well, I need to work on this or I need to work on that. But when you have to like take a moment to pause and intentionally be like, why are you proud of yourself? I take immense pride in my resilience, and I credit a lot of that to my faith because it guides me, it drives me, and kind of like I was saying before, when I knew it was time to let go of the studio but didn't want to, I had a lot of peace in that situation because I knew even though it wasn't something that I wanted to do, um, I knew it was going to bring me down the right path. And
Mm-hmm.
I really admire and I hope other people, when there's a crowded room of people and my name gets brought up, I really hope that people admire how I just get back up and the perseverance that I have. Like that's what I hope people talk about. Like, yeah, she did that, but look at what she's doing now. Or like, gosh, that girl, she don't stop, like if someone tells her no, she finds another way around it. And these I have to credit a lot of this growth to establishing these boundaries too. And I'm really incredibly proud of learning boundaries and, allowing myself to say no to people. Or I'm very deliberate in the choices that I make and the people that I allow into my life. And I think that is something for a people pleaser that's very hard to do, especially when you have a business and you're really trying to cater to everybody so that everyone likes you and everyone buys your products. So just, being able to get back up, being able to understand that I'm allowed to have boundaries in my life and I can still love people with boundaries, and knowing that, failure is not a defining force for me. Instead, I take that as a source of strength and growth. And when something happens, it's I've gained this knowledge. How can I apply it and do better? And lastly, lately, something that has really made me proud is I am continuously reconnecting to my younger self. So, the child, the kiddo Asia, the little girl that, who did she look up to when she was 5? And would I today be someone that she would look up to? And really grounding myself in that and just knowing that that little 5-year-old girl that had all these dreams would just be immensely proud of the person that I am today and the person that I'm continuing to grow and be.
Oh, I love that. Well, she's so proud of you, and I'm so proud of you. And you just have so much wisdom and experience and resilience at such a young age that I'm grateful to be a part of your journey. I'm grateful to watch you grow and evolve and all the amazing things that you're pursuing now and that you will continue to pursue as you continue to build out this brand and this business and who like you know the potential is unlimited, and that's what I love to see is really taking your dreams and your creativity and running with it, and like you said, not letting something get in your way. You find a way around it, and I think that becomes ultimately the joy in the journey is finding the silver linings
Yeah.
in the hardships, and finding the friends along the way and pulling the threads out of the lessons learned. And you've already, captured a lot of the hardship early on, which is only going to benefit you in the long run. So My final question is, what drives your soul today? What do you get up for?
Yes. So, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're at the end of this like last question already. My I love this question, and because it, again, just like thinking about what makes you proud, it really like reflects on why do I get up every morning? What drives my soul, and am I doing things that drive my soul? And when I reflected on that, my soul is really guided by my my deep rooted faith and my personal relationship with God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It has grounded me so much in my life to know that when I'm making decisions, and again, I come back to this peace, but like peace is worth more than $1 million. To have peace in your life and just finding that daily purpose, and I'm just anchored in knowing that I have a bigger purpose in life, and knowing that the the creator of the universe is writing my story, and so I don't have to worry about the small day-to-day problems, and just trusting in knowing I have that bigger purpose in life. I get a lot of peace from that, and I get a lot of motivation from that too, because it drives me to want to make something out of my life and know that I'm making a difference, whether that is at work, at my corporate job, saying hi to someone that maybe has gotten looked over today, or talking to someone at a pop-up that, has been having a rough day, and now they just bought a lip gloss and they feel like they're part of a family, or, just finding peace in the belief that my narrative, I I I I get to make my own choices, and I get to write my own story, but at the end of the day, it's just when you know that your life has greater meaning in it than just you, it's easy to get up in the morning and keep doing and keep going and finding what makes you happy, and when you fall, you just keep getting back up, and I I have been listening to Taylor Swift's new album, like, obviously everyone else, but, um, she talks about, you know, being a tough kid, and I just I really resonate with that song because I built Small Town Beauty through a broken heart, and so you best believe I sing that part at the top of my lungs when I'm like, I can do it with a broken heart, because at the end of the day, even if everything was taken away from me, I'm rooted in my faith, and that's what gets me up every morning. It makes me motivated and drives my soul, because I know that at the end of the day, I have a great purpose in life, and I have a lot of peace in knowing I'm fulfilling that purpose.
Yes, you are. And I know that you'll continue to go on and do amazing things. And I feel the same way. I think that we make our story what it is. We get to make choices, but ultimately, our plan is created by God and a higher power. And I think there's peace in that, knowing that there's a higher plan and there's a better plan than
Mhm.
anything we would ever imagine or try to attempt to do on our own. When you have
100%.
that peace in your heart and faith, that everything is, divinely guided, and that has gotten me through many of my hardest days, my toughest seasons. It gets me up in the morning too. So we have so much in common, and I see so much of my younger self in you, Asia. So
Oh,
I'm
I
very
love
proud
that.
of you. I'm excited for your evolution, your journey. Thank you for sharing your story and your experience with us here today. Tell our listeners where they can purchase from you and or follow along your journey.
Yes. So I have a website. It's smalltownbeautybyasia.com. That is where I sell all of my products. I do sell in stores as well. There are so many now that I know if I list them all, I will forget some. So
You'll
if
forget
you,
some. Yes.
I know, right? So if you go to my Instagram or my Facebook, you can see all of the retailers that sell small town beauty products. I really kept my handles easy. If you look up Small Town Beauty by Asia, you should not have a problem finding me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok.
So go follow along her journey, try out her amazing lip gloss. I can't get enough of it. And until next time, keep following what drives your soul.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Steph, so much.